Hey everyone, this is Tim Souza and I am here with Karen Kristine, and we are in Perth, Ontario, which is a small town in between Kingston and Ottawa. So that's where we are. It's a gorgeous little town. I had coffee here this morning. It has been it's really just cute and homey, I think, in a lot of ways, which I really appreciate.
It's been voted one of the 10 prettiest towns in Ontario, so everybody should come and see it. It's got a great downtown area.
It has a little river that flows through it, and I had coffee along this river this morning. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, Karen, thank you for having us today in this home. I want to give you an opportunity to kind of speak about, who we are, maybe a little bit, where we are, a little bit about Perth, a little bit about who you work for, how long you've been in real estate, those kinds of things. So let's just start with, let's talk to me about how long have you been in real estate and what brought you to Perth? Because I know we were chatting and you were saying that you originally started from Ottawa and you moved here a few years ago. So what does that look like?
So I've been in real estate about 12 years now. I started 12 years ago in Ottawa. I lived in Ottawa. And then we bought a place, a farmhouse north here in the Lanark Highlands, and I started working in real estate in Perth about 8 years ago.
Okay.
So I kind of traverse both cities. I work here in Perth and I work in Ottawa. I have clients from both areas.
Okay.
And Ottawa's about an hour away. It's 83 kilometers. It's not too far.
Not too far.
It's great. So I get the luxury of selling condos and homes, detached homes in Ottawa, and then out here I sell cottages and I sell recreational properties, vacant land, and farms.
And farms.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so you said that before you were in real estate, kind of zooming out a little bit, you were also in sales, and that was an interesting transition for you.
So when I got into real estate, I wanted to get into real estate 30 years ago, but I had 3 small kids. I was a single mom, and I thought, no, it'd be too time consuming. So I got into it about 12 years ago, and by then I had 35 years of sales under my belt.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, oh, this is going to be a breeze, getting into real estate, no problem.
Right, because it's just another sales job, right?
Exactly, exactly. But for the first 2 years, it was quite difficult because real estate, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of rules, regulations. You have to know how to treat clients on open houses, on sales calls. So there's a lot more going on than just what, you think, just sign on the dotted line and you get the paycheck. So it took me a couple of years to get into the groove. But after that, things are rolling along fine. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like being a consultant. So in that space, what do you find is a distinction between being an expert and specializing kind of in this Perth region and this greater country region, and then in Ottawa? Like, what do you see as the distinction? So if people and viewers are coming from like a city versus looking at the country, what are things that you see that you're like, okay, country buyers are aware of these things, but they're not aware about these things in the city, and vice versa?
Oh, well, there's lots actually. Well, so out here, if you have a farm or a recreational property, most farms are on septics.
Okay.
And they have a well. So in Ottawa, they don't have any of that. They're all hooked up to the municipal service.
Absolutely, right.
So knowing a lot about septics and wells, and the property I live on as well too has a septic and well. That's really, really important. And then there's different zoning bylaws in the country as well too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me about those, because I was learning a little bit about like how you have, is it like R1, R2, R3? Am I remembering that properly?
Yeah, and there's agriculture, so the zoning could be quite different. The rural use zoning, you could do many things on a farm. Let's say a 100-acre farm. You could have a dog kennel, you could have a garden, you could have a garage, you could have a helicopter landing pad. There's many. Really? I know.
Have you seen those?
I've seen it on my property. Actually, yes. So zoning's quite different in this area. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, that zoning for like each of those things is a different zoning, like the zone that needs to be passed, or is it
residential, rural? There's many things. As long as you have your proper setbacks from the road and from the sides, you can do. There's many opportunities out here, more than you would have in the city.
Right, which you, of course, having a helicopter landing pad in your small city lot's not going to be a thing. No. Interesting. It's a lot of fun, actually.
And if you're a family and you've got kids and you're moving to the country, I think another great thing to look into is the schools in the area. That would be really important. How far you are to the next town to buy groceries and stuff, that type of thing.
So talk to me about the schools and stuff in Perth. What does education look like here? What does it look like to raise a family in like Perth?
Perth is a great little town to raise a family in. We've got 2 great high schools, a Catholic high school and a non-Catholic high school. We have a Algonquin College, which is affiliated with Algonquin College in Ottawa.
Okay.
Which has some great programs. Another campus here, satellite campus. And then there's about 8 or 10 public schools in the area. And they're all really great public schools. Yeah. So it's a great little town. Great restaurants. Great.
But how many people are here in the town of Perth?
Town of Perth has about 6,000 permanent residents. And
Okay.
we're surrounded by lakes. This is a whole lake area. So in the summertime, there's probably it seems like about 10,000 people. Okay. The streets are crowded. The downtown's crowded. It's kind of like the Muskoka of the East, Perth, Ontario.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we get a lot of tourists come in and they're at their cottages. They come in. We have 3 theaters here. We have a nice hospital. So people come in the summertime to see theater shows. It's
cool.
great, yeah.
Yeah, and so what's the so about 6,000 people who are permanent residents,
right?
And what are the demographics in that part of the community? Or do we have a lot of like older folk and retirees? Do you because you mentioned that you love helping old folks? So is it like retirees age, or do we have? I know the Tweed has moved in like down in Smiths Falls, so like that's close by. Do you have a lot of people moving into the area for that? So what does it look like demographic wise?
So in this area, I mean, traditionally it's been a town that there were a lot of families.
Okay.
But what's happening is a lot of people who are retiring from the government in Ottawa. Ottawa has 80 to 90,000 government workers, and a lot of them are starting to retire. So we're getting a big influx of the retired people coming into this town. So over the last 10 years that I've been selling in this town, you could buy a really nice home for under 300,000. And now that's going to be edging up to 400,000 for a nice home in this
area.
Yeah, because of all the retired people coming. And it's a great area. It's close to Ottawa, it's close to Kingston, it's an hour. It's 3 hours to Toronto, Perth. So it's a great area.
It's not too far from anything.
And we have one of the restaurants has the best lemon meringue pies.
Okay, which one? Gotta try it.
Peter's.
Peter's, got it. We're going there afterwards, take a little snapshot. When is a good time to buy versus a good time to sell? And what does that cycle look like? Does winter affect it? I know where I come from, it's very much attached to the school cycle. So come basically August, September, the market slows down.
Yeah.
And in the summer it's high season, and then it's kind of slow throughout the winter because people are kind of established in there.
That's California, right?
That's California, yeah. So how does it work here?
We're kind of opposite to that.
Really?
So if you want to list your home, the spring and the fall are the best times.
Okay.
Spring being number 1, fall being number 2. If you're a buyer and you want to buy a home, the winter and the summer are the best times.
Really?
Yeah, because if somebody puts their house on in spring, it hasn't sold by June, end of June, then we've got July and August, which is traditionally really, really slow. So by then the seller's thinking, okay, I'll lower 10, 20,000, whatever, and that's a good time to buy.
Take note if you want to look for a home in Perth. What advice, though, if you were to give advice to someone who wanted to be putting their home on the market in Perth in the next 3 to 6 months, what would that be?
So the first advice I would say is let's prepare the house. Let's get it ready. Okay. Let's get it dressed up. Let's get it looking good. Let's fix anything that needs to be fixed. Okay. Do we need to fix the windows, the roof? Do we need to paint? That's one thing that I do that probably most agents don't do.
Okay, talk to me about it.
Yeah. So I love to paint walls, not pictures. So if I go to a house and I see, oh, it needs a bit of a touch-up, I will show my clients how to paint, and I will paint with them. I'll help them paint. And I've done many homes where I've painted the walls.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, in the house, only because I like to do it. It saves them some money. It gives me a bit of relaxation because I love to paint, and it helps them in some way. So we prepare the home, painting, fixing up, cleaning. The next step is to stage it, and that's one thing I have to. I have a great stager who does, Lee does all my staging for me. And she will come in and put her magic everywhere. And then the next step is marketing, right? Okay.
So what is your marketing plan?
Yeah, so when we started in this industry, before I started, people used to have binders, and they used to go through all the listings in a binder. I don't know if you remember that or not.
The MLS books?
Yeah, that's right. And so now it's totally on the internet. It's totally, so when I list my property, I list it on 7 different websites. I work a lot with Facebook as well too. I know you're going to be working a lot with Facebook.
Absolutely.
And I've joined, I don't know, over 35 different groups, Facebook groups in different towns across Ontario, in the States, and I'll list my listings on the Facebook buy and sell pages.
Oh, cool. So is that also how you connect with agents in those different communities, or was it mainly just like people who are looking to buy and sell?
Yeah. So I mean, you know what the buy and sell groups are like, right? So I mean, they could be. It's not just houses, home buy and sells, but it's anything. If they're looking for, they're looking for a lawnmower. There's all of a sudden this beautiful house pops up, right? And then they forward it on. So I've sold quite a few of my listings that way on the Facebook buy and sell. Yeah.
Oh,
and
awesome.
I do have a YouTube page as well too.
Yeah, okay, what is your YouTube page? We'll put all these links down here below.
It's just my name, Kristine, both spelled with a K. And I have a Facebook page too as well that I put on. So yeah, everything is mostly digital nowadays. as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, and that's where people are at, specifically for a town like, to sell something here to someone in Ottawa or to Vancouver, you're going to need to provide them that kind of exposure.
Exactly. And you know what, I tell people that as well too. When we sign a contract, it's usually for 6 months, but I say to them, at any time, if it's not working out between us or we don't feel it's a good fit, they can cancel that contract. They don't have to stay for the 6 months. And most people go, wow, we didn't know that. We thought we had to stay for the whole 6 months. No, because I think it is about that. It is about personal relationships and whether you can work with the seller and the seller can work with me. I think that's totally important.
And about having fun, right?
And about having fun.
We've been talking about this, like real estate needs to be fun. It needs to be exciting.
Yeah.
And because it is, you're changing like the basis of your home base. You're changing the space that you launch into every day from, and that should be exciting and fun.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll take it from stressful to fun. I think that's the way to go.
Oh, that's perfect.
Right?
I like that. We'll title this one "Stressful to Fun." This is where you've gotten this is a beautiful space. You're saying it has kind of an amazing little history, and a lot of the pieces are original. So kind of share with us where we are and what we're looking at.
So we're in a sort of a central location of Perth right now. This home was built in the early 1900s. It was owned by a lumber baron, and eventually it was bought over by a few other families, and the current family that owns it has lived here for over 40 years. So the seller who owns it now grew up here, lived here till she was 18. She moved away for about 10 years, and then she moved back in for another 18 years to help her father who was living here. This is a grand home. It's a 4-bedroom home, spiral staircase, 9-foot ceilings, original hardwood floors, 2 wood fireplaces.
Okay.
And 2 bathrooms in this section. And they've added on a garage section, which they turned into an in-law suite.
Right.
A 1-bedroom.
Which you were saying that they currently use for...
Yeah, they rent out to doctors, interns who are coming to Perth to do their internship at the hospital. So they rent out this 1-bedroom suite for $800 a month, which is great.
That's great. It's a great little side gig going on.
Yeah, so this would be a great home for an Airbnb or a B&B possibility, or renting it out, or selling it to a family with 4 or 5 kids, and they want the mother-in-law or the father-in-law to live in the ensuite. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's got one of the largest lots in town, 100 by 150, and it's at a great location. It's within walking distance of the historic village or town of Perth, and within Highway 7. It's very close to Highway 7 as well.
So you can pop anywhere to any lakes in the region up to Ottawa.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions that you were hoping that I'd ask, or anything that you were like, Tim, I really wanted you to talk about this, that we can discuss as we close out here?
So there's one thing that I would like to talk about is my vision in the real estate business.
Okay, please.
What is my vision? So when I got into the real estate business, my vision was to sell homes, to help people, to help them clean up, to help them get their place ready to sell it, and to make it very easy for people. But in this area right now, we are sort of running out of rental apartments, of homes to sell. And we do have sort of people who are older, 65 and up, who are looking for places to live in. So my vision for this area and the surrounding area is to create a multi-generational co-housing community.
Okay.
So I know this is sort of a thing that's going on around the world, especially in Europe right now. And so what I'm looking at is to buy, or a group of us to buy, a larger property where we can have maybe one larger building, a building for a kitchen and a dining hall, and then smaller homes around it. So it's involving co-caring as well too. So as people age, instead of going to a retirement home, you can have this community surrounded by a community with all ages, right?
Oh, it's aging well.
Aging well, and feeling surrounded by folks that you care about and who care about you. So that's my vision, and that's why I feel I'm in this industry right now, is to do that. So I have my eye on a couple properties and putting together a platform and a program for them.
Interesting. Well, if you are interested in helping Karen achieve this vision, please reach out to her. We'll put our information down below. I actually love that a lot. I know, one of the things that absolutely drives me crazy is old folks' homes. And I don't understand how we ever got to this space.
Exactly.
From maybe it's the way our cultural lens has developed, but yeah, absolutely. It's the older folks who are independent, who were top of industry, top of, they were experts in something in their lives. All of that wisdom, I think, as someone from the younger generation, I'd love to lean into, have mentors, and having easy access and a way to have that kind of community. To have dinner with someone like that every evening would be phenomenal.
Wonderful? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a lot of countries around the world, I was just in Argentina and I asked, do they have retirement homes? No, they don't.
Right.
As people age, they live with their family, right? And
Right.
many countries in the world are like that. Japan, all through Europe. So I would really love to see that too.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I'm working on.
That's a beautiful vision. I love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, this is Karen, and she is the person to go to here in Perth, Ontario. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to her down below. She's got a vision. She's exciting. She loves bright colors, and so we obviously get along really well with the bright colors.
I like to have fun.
And the fun. We have had so much fun. We've laughed. I probably laughed more walking through this one than I have in the last few. So it has been a great time. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
your time today.
Thank you, Tim.
Cheers.